In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut and sew this stylish backless princess darts basque top. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. This dress is from MS Fashion on Instagram. So for this tutorial, I'm going to start by marking my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline. Now from my waistline, I'm adding additional 7 inches for the basque because the basque is very lengthy at the front. I'll go ahead to mark my shoulder divided by 2. Come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to draw out a basic neckline of 3 inches. Now I'll place my ruler and I'm going to connect. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm going to find my chest line. Now to find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll place my ruler and I'll draw a straight line. After that, I'll go ahead to place my tape and I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2 on my chest line. Now I'll place a ruler and I'm going to go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to divide my armhole into 2 equal parts. Come out by ½ inch, and on the chest line, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4. I have roughly 8.3 inches. From that point, I'll connect to the midpoint at the ½ inch at the armhole and to the upper part of my shoulder. I'll make a mark at that midpoint of my armhole. Now, I'll start by marking my dart. And to mark my dart, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches. Divided by 2, I have 3.5 inches, which I'm going to go ahead to mark, starting from the waist to the under bust to the bust, and from the waist down to my basque length. Now, after I'm done marking this, I'll mark my dart intake. I'll mark ½ inch here, 1.5 inches on the other side, and also repeat it here also. Now, if you're plus size, you mark 1 inch here and then mark 2 inches on the other side. Now, I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to connect all those marks, all the ½ inch I have at that point, and go ahead to mark the other side, joining it together. Now, after I'm done connecting, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead, place my ruler, connect from the under bust to the bust, and also go ahead to repeat this at the other side of my pattern. Now, after I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead to outline my pattern. From the armhole of my dress, I'm going to connect this all the way to this nipple to nipple point. Now, I'll be taking a dart intake of ½ inch on both sides of my pattern, and I'm going to blend it in and also blend in on the other side. Now, after I'm done blending this ½ inch on both sides, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline it. That intake that I took out on both sides, I'll go ahead to replace it at the armhole this way. Mark that 1 inch back and blend it into my armhole back. Now, after I'm done marking, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, measure that intake and replace, then go ahead to add any sewing allowance of your choice. On the under bust, I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, measure that intake and replace, then add my sewing allowance. You can use 1 inch, 2 inches, 1.5. It totally depends on what you want to do. Now, on the waistline of this pattern, my waist is 28 and I want to snatch out my waistline. I'll minus 2 inches from my waist, which is 28 minus 2. I have 26. So I'll divide that 26 by 4 and mark. And I will pick this dart intake here, replace it here, then add my sewing allowance. So I'm using 1.5 inches, which is not a standard. You can go ahead to use whatever you want to use. You can use 1 inch, 2 inches, 1.5, just like I said. Here, I'll just insert my hip circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake, replace, and add a sewing allowance. So this part, which is the lower part of the dress, does not really matter. And I'll just go ahead to connect from the under bust to the bust area and from the under bust to the waist, then from the waist down to the blouse length. So after I'm done marking, I'll just go ahead to outline. Now this is what I have, and I'll mark my bust dart. Get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. my shoulder to waist in front is 17 inches, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. Now take out 15.5 from 17, you will have 1.5, or 1.5 rather. This is what I mark and I extended to the center part of my pattern. Now you want to go ahead to determine the neckline of your dress. So I'm leaving 2 inches above my chest line, and I'll go ahead to mark. You can also measure this from your shoulder. So from this part, I had to blend my pattern to cut out this, but after connecting, I won't use exactly that point. Why? This is because when I'm joining my pattern, this side tends to be a bit shorter, so I'll just add like 0.3 on top and connect. So if I have any excess, I can still trim it out. It's better than having shortage at that point. Now after I'm done marking this, I'll now go ahead to work on the lower part. I'll go ahead and outline. Going to the armhole, I'll take it up a bit and then blend it down. This is because I don't want my armhole to be too open at this side, right? So I'll just go ahead to blend it out. To draw out the basque, I'll just go ahead and blend out my darts. Come in by my sewing allowance. If you add 1.5 inches, come in first, then go ahead to go down. While getting to this point, I'll just make a curve and then blend it off to the front this way. So this is what I have after I was done cutting, and I'm just going to go ahead to cut out my pattern. For the strap for the neckline, you can go ahead to attach that when you're done sewing, or attach it while sewing, whichever one that works for you. But you need a measurement from your where your blouse stops to your neck and down to where your blouse stops again. So I'll just go ahead and cut, and while cutting the side, remember to blend your dart so that you make sure that this point is meeting. Now at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any question, please kindly leave that at the comment section of this video. Now after cutting this, we are heading over to the back pattern of this dress. Now for the back pattern, I measured my shoulder to waistline. For the back, this is my shoulder to bust and then shoulder to waistline. The back pattern is stopping at the waistline, which is 15.5 inches, and in front I marked out my basic neckline, 3 inches by 1. Now I also added a zipper at the front part, so I marked my chest line, my shoulder slope and all that just the same way we did for the front part. I just wanted to make this video a bit shorter. So now I'll just go ahead to divide my armhole into 2, just like we did for the front pattern. Mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'll just go ahead to connect this and to the upper part. Now after I'm done connecting this, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to start marking my dart. Now my dart is starting immediately after my zipper line, which I'll use my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and I'll go ahead to connect. I'll mark half inch here, half inch here. Now I'll come down by 1 inch here. Now I'll place my ruler and connect. Place my ruler and connect on the other side. Now I'll insert my body measurement. I'll be cutting this dress with a zipper and also with a lacing bar, so anyone that is okay for you, go ahead to use that. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'll add my sewing allowance at the bust. Now going over to the waistline, that waistline you used for the front, go ahead to mark it, measure the dart intake, replace and add your sewing allowance. Now after you're done marking that, go ahead to connect. And what I'll do now is to come in by half inch for this pattern to take out the zipper bulge in case you're using a zipper, and I'm going to go ahead to extend it all the way up. So after marking this, I'll go ahead to cut this out. Now we'll now go ahead to alter this pattern after you're done cutting out the zipper bulge and the side. So for this pattern, you don't really need the upper parts. What we'll be working with is from the chest line of this pattern, right? From the chest line, I'll come down by half inch and I'll connect it to the chest line. Now I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So if you want to cut out with a zipper, this is what you will use. Now if you don't want to cut out with a zipper, go in by 2 inches, 1.5 inches from your zipper line and connect. So this is for those that want to use a lacing, then go ahead to cut it out. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial.